Hello YouTube, Dave Bofet again. Coming at you with a little piece from my everyday pack. I'll eventually get to a video of the full deal in the pack and what's all in what I carry. It's a little more different than most everyday packs because I don't use it for most tactical, or it's more of like a everyday tools I need readily rather than what may happen. I try to keep a balance to have it as a prepped kit, but for the most part, it's mostly stuff I need on a daily basis. And this is one of the items that come from my pack. Uh, so this is the Gerber Sportster, what do they call it? Multiplier. Uh, this is one of their flick series. So fast deployment. Rather than opening outward, this guy just pops straight out. This was like a perfect size for me, as again you see it's pretty small, pretty compact, and that's what I loved about it. Um, the tools on it are very useful. They're more useful than the sidekick. I think it's the sidekick that I carry on an everyday basis, but I prefer carrying the sidekick because I like the pocket clip I use for a belt clip. This guy came with like a little carry pouch, which I think I brought up in another video. I try to stay away from the Batman style utility belt. Very minimal things go in my belt, and I like to keep it that way. Just because I just don't want shit hanging from my belt. I always try, and that pertains more to I try and keep a low profile with my tools on my person. Not that I don't want people to know that I have them. It's just that I would rather carry discreetly rather than have the whole world know what's on my person just by looking at me. Um, so I try and keep a very minimalistic look. Um, and that's just what works for me. So I don't like pouches, I don't like all that stuff. So there'll be an update video to the EDC pouch I did a couple days ago. Coming up very soon because we'll leave it for that video. But back to these to the Gerber multi-tool. Some of the features I really like about this one specifically is over the other one is this one does have locking tools. So we'll pull out the knife. It does lock. There's So I've talked to a couple of different people about this specific tool, and a lot of people didn't like them because the lock is plastic. It's been durable in my usage so far. This one I may retire and get a coated one because I'm getting some. If you see right there on the shoulder, I am getting some surface rusting, and I'm getting some rusting on the blade. And that's just from keeping it in my backpack. I don't know if it's humid here in Alaska. It can be in the summer. These last couple of weeks, this last month, 2 months, it's been raining a decent amount. And I just drop it in the pack. I don't keep it in the pouch. So it sits in an open pouch, and that's probably where the rusting is coming from, just being in a humid and wet environment. So yeah, so it is starting to rust a little. But that's just aesthetics. It's not messing with any of the functionality. As far as I know, the pliers themselves are fine. No rusting on there. It's just on the scales and some of the tools. But in my sense, what would make this a perfect multi-tool for me is, aside from the pocket knife and the pliers, one of the biggest things I really like in a multi-tool is having scissors. These I use so often in a multi-tool. I love having scissors on a multi-tool. It's like, aside from the pocket knife and the pliers, the scissors the most used. Aside from that, you know, the small, flat, and the Phillips are the third most used. Not used as often as the other three tools I mentioned, but these do get a lot of the usage. The can opener, bottle opener, I don't use so often unless like I'm out on a camping or a hunting or a hiking trip. The bottle opener does get a little bit of use, works just fine. You know, it's a bottle opener. But yeah, the only thing that stops me from carrying this thing as often as I would like is to get away from the pouch. If I could get away from carrying this thing in a pouch, it would be amazing. So for this one, my way of getting around that and not using a pouch with this multi-tool, what I personally use is the, I guess some people call it the coin pocket. The little pocket on your jeans that you don't really use. You don't really know what to use it for. Some people use them for coins, keys, whatever. But that little pocket on your jeans, if I don't want to carry the pouch, I'll throw this guy in there, and that becomes the dedicated pocket for a multi-tool if I don't want to use the pouch, which is 98% of the time that I do carry this one. Like I said, I love the functionality on this, but since I'm not a big fan of the pouch, and this thing is heavy enough to have it dangling around in a pocket just isn't fun, so this one usually stays as my back multi-tool and stays in my backpack. But aside from that, it works. The other thing that I love about this one too, over the Leatherman, is this gap here, because I think I brought it up in some other videos with my Leatherman, is that this edge right here, if I slip off a bolt, if I'm using this as a fastener, if I slip, it'll come down and it'll just pinch the living shit out of my hand, and which kind of ruins my day. Because again, in retail, I use my hands a lot, so if I'm pinching the shit out of it and I have a big sore spot on my hand, then it's going to be a very painful day. And with this gap here, it kind of fixes that. Like, I've never had this thing pinch my finger or my hand when using this as a fastener. The steel on the pliers is adequate. I don't know what steel they use, and I'm not sure the steel on the frame, but it works. It's heavy duty enough to where I can use it for the tasks I've needed and not had an issue. One thing a lot of people don't like about this, aside from the plastic locks, is the play in the tips. But I've never needed anything precision enough to where I needed that, to need those be like completely solid. When I'm using it as a fastener, the play never got in the way. The needle, I love the needle nose, especially if I have to like pull something out and I have to get into something. And I don't know why, but it's easier for me if they're needle nose rather than blunt nose, if I have to like pull out a staple or a carpenter's nail and use this as like an extractor in that way. That helps out a lot to have the needle nose rather than a blunt nose. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for right now. The Gerber Sportsman multipliers. One of my favorite items. Not a lot bad I can say about it. Everything I've used for it I loved. And yeah, I guess that's it for this video. So wherever you are in the world, have a good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. And we'll see you again later. Alright, have a good one. Bye.